All right, list night, quick list. What we're going to do, I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite video games. I thought this could be fun to briefly talk through. I posted this list on Twitter, and a lot of people got mad at me because it's mostly just like Nintendo and mostly older games that I liked as a kid and still have played as an adult. So figured I'd have Griffin hop on here, who's never one to shy away from having an opinion. Give me his thoughts. Sound good?
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. I'm happy. I don't remember what your list was on Twitter. I'm sure I saw it when you posted it, but it's been enough time that I'm looking forward to essentially hearing it fresh.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago at this point. So it's basically brand new.
It's a different lifetime entirely. We were both unmarried men.
That's true. That's true. And I lived in Colorado. All right. Number 10. Obviously, we're starting at number 10. There are two like relatively new entries. This one's the newest. It's Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not even sure how that's pronounced. Amazing game. I think it like isn't as popular because when it came out, it was horribly glitchy. Like they just released it months too early. But I was lucky to have not played it then. I'm normally not a first-person shooter guy, but the combat's amazing. The story's amazing. Character, artwork, the futuristic world is cool. Keanu Reeves is in it, which is cool. It's the most I've enjoyed a video game playing for the first time in a long time.
That's a really interesting number 10 pick because we have the exact inverse relationship with that game. I bought it 2 years before it released. Like I pre-ordered it way in advance. It's a very big Witcher guy. I also like Cyberpunk generally. And so I played it on stream back when I was still doing Twitch streams. I played it on stream the night it came out. Probably played it for like 2 or 3 days. And then some game-breaking bugs destroyed my save file. And that was 4 years ago, I want to say. I have not picked it up since. I would like to get back to it. But I think I was burned a little bit by putting, 35, 40 hours into it and then essentially having all of that erased. If it's on your number 10, if it's number 10 on your list, then I guess I've got to get back to it.
Like I said, it's the most fun, the most enjoyable experience I've had playing a video game for the first time in a long time. I like to replay games a lot when I just kind of want something brainless to do. Really, really good stuff.
Did you play the Witcher games?
I played Witcher 3. Okay. I like Cyberpunk better than Witcher 3.
I wouldn't necessarily say you need to play 1 or 2. They're not as good. So, all good
to know. All right. Number 10, and now we're getting to the meat of the Nintendo older games. Paper Mario 64. Played it as a kid, loved it. Have played it as an adult multiple times, loved it each time. I love having like the partners aspect of it, which is why I have 64 and not some of the other ones that they've made. I love going through different worlds, having different characters, all the different Mario worlds in one. Paper Mario 64, fantastic game.
Yeah, no disagreement here. I recall playing it for the first time on a friend's N64 at it was like a family and friends party, and he had all the kids our age up in his room playing that game. Yeah. And I don't even remember if I played it. I think I may have just watched people play it. But it's an iconic game. It's an all-timer. The Paper Mario series in general, really, really good. But it's hard to beat one of the OGs. And the N64, our generation, is just so definitive.
Nothing like it.
Yeah, it expanded our brains in a way that we weren't prepared for.
First time I played it was with our mutual friend Ross.
That makes a lot of sense to me. That tracks really heavily.
Yeah. All right. Number 8. I think a similar time frame. Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I really liked as a kid Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I have yet to play Majora's Mask as a kid, as an adult. I played Ocarina of Time as a kid. I didn't touch it for probably 20 years. Played it again as an adult. Forgotten pretty much all of it and really, really enjoyed it. It's not my number 1 Zelda game, which we'll get into, but really, really good game. And I think it's like on every list of top whatever video games of all time.
Yeah, it's a timeless classic. I am starting to remember your list a little bit now because I remember us going back and forth about Ocarina versus Majora. I'm a Majora guy, which if you know a lot about just like kind of my emotional wavelength that I live on makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. But Ocarina of Time, one of the most influential games ever and just so good. There's no notes on this one. It's a perfect game.
It's a great game. Absolutely great game. All right, number 7. The only non-story mode game on my list, Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's my favorite Super Smash. I like all of them. They're all great. I felt like, and this one I admittedly haven't played too recently, especially obviously starting from zero. But I remember collecting the characters was a lot more difficult in Melee than it is now. I also liked how they added a lot of different stuff you could do. Like instead of just going through the main, not story, but like main whatever of those things, you can also do like the different trials and stages and somewhat. Like I remember having to fight 2 master hands and all that stuff. So of the Super Smash, Melee is definitely my favorite.
Might have been the first one with Home Run Derby.
Yep, that's one of them.
Which is iconic and incredible. Yeah. The amount of hours that our friend group spent on Home Run Derby. Also, something that we did with our good friend Ross.
Yep.
He spent some time with us. I spent a lot of time playing Melee with him. It's hard for me to pick a favorite Super Smash. I'm not going to pick 64. I'm not a purist when it comes to that, but like Melee Brawl, Wii U, and then the ones for Switch, I think they're all essentially perfect games.
Yeah.
But Melee, definitely the one I dedicated the most time to.
For sure.
And really truly had a stranglehold on my early teen years, like middle school into early high school, and then also in college. Played a ton in college, but like there was a period in middle school where there were few things I would say that I did more than play Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say, I remember the way to get Mewtwo is you have to have like one game that has like 20 hours of like collective playing time. So like 2 people, it could be for 10. So I remember what I would always do is I would like set up all 4 controllers and then leave the game on overnight so then I could get it the next day.
A lot of people would do that. Me and some friends did, and you have to do a few games. We would do 99 stock battles, and we would like pause it partway through and come back to it. And it was like such an unhinged thing to think about as an adult, because the amount of just hours you're putting into this, usually hours after midnight as well.
Yeah.
But when you're 12 and the last thing you ever want to do is sleep, you just want to hang out with your friends. Yeah, playing one game for 6 straight hours is the most fun in the world.
It means peak childhood. It really is.
Yeah, big time.
All right, number 6. No surprise that this is on the list. It's the OG Pokemon, red, yellow, blue. In hindsight, a lot of issues with this game. I know you're not a huge Pokemon guy, but like the OG or the Pokemon nerds know what I'm talking about. Like with the special and the physical attack, it's definitely not a perfect game by any means. I also don't really care. I cannot stress how many times I played this game when I was a kid. I cannot stress how many times as an adult I played this game or different ROM hacks of these games. Obsessed with it as a kid, obsessed with it now. Incredibly fun. Just an all-timer.
Yeah, for 2025, is it a perfect game? No.
Yeah.
What we know about games and like game theory and just the way the games are developed now, sure, it's not. For 1998 or 97 or whatever it was when it came out, I would say it was a perfect. I mean, there's a reason why between the games and the anime and the card game, Pokemon ran the world, and to a large extent still kind of does as a media property. Like it's still just gigantic, even if you're no longer involved in it. And Red and Blue, as a little kid with a Game Boy Color, kind of like Melee was a little bit down the line, just dominated my childhood. I don't think there was a Game Boy game I played more than Red and Blue, and then eventually Silver and Gold.
Same, 100%.
Just probably a full year of my life, if you added all the time together, was playing Game Boy Color Pokemon games or Game Boy Advance at eventual point.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how many, to go to your point about like how it's still relevant now, I'm amazed at how many either friends or family or whoever have kids that love Pokemon as kids. Like I never would have thought that still to this day. It's
like Disney. At this point, it's too big to go away, I think it's part of the monoculture.
Yeah, true. All right, not the last time we'll hear about Pokemon, I can tell you that.
I believe that.
All right. Number 5, the sequel to Paper Mario 64, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
You're so Nintendo. This is just top 10 games that Nintendo ever came out with, and I
honestly
love that.
It could be like we can repost this top 10 Nintendo games. Let's just just start at take out number 10.
Get rid of Cyberpunk.
But Paper Mario 64, great game. Thousand Year Door, some quality of life improvements. Partners could go first. Obviously, updated graphics and stuff is always fun. I don't know if you ever played this game, but the 100 trials that you could do at the very, very end of the game is like up there with some of the most like grindy and difficult things that at least Nintendo will put in a game. Very difficult. You can't save in the middle. It's tough. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, as good as Paper Mario 64 with quality of life improvements. So I put it ahead.
I have played it and I own it. I never spent a lot of time on it. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I don't have the experience with it that I do with 64 and one of the other ones that I'm going to blank on the name for.
Like Super Mario, the first one?
I think so.
I think it's Super Paper Mario.
Super Paper Mario, yeah. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, I want to say is like the highest rated one, all of them. I think it's like what people consider like the crown point of the genre. And when people want a new Paper Mario game, I think that's what they talk about the most. So yeah, I get it.
They've actually remade it for the Switch. It is now remade.
That might be what's brought it up most recently is people talking about the Switch version.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. I told you we would hear it about again. Pokemon, and I'm going Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Okay. Gen 2 is my favorite gen. I think it's the most excited I've ever been for a game in my entire life. Like taking into account how I felt when I was a kid, but like knowing that there was a sequel to Pokemon, I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. Then like after, like it's the only game where you have 16 badges. Like you literally beat the game and beat the Elite Four and then go to another region. It's the only game that has that. The reason why I chose the remakes of it was because I think it's right at the point before they started making really crappy Pokemon games. Like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl and Ruby and Sapphire are not good. This is very, very good. And I always knock my headphones out. Part of the reason why, and I'm spending a lot of time on this one, is when it came out, it was the perfect time of coming out my second semester senior year of high school when I stopped caring about school. Me and all my friends got it. And I cannot tell you how many hours we spent in someone's basement during sleepovers playing this game. Like I have this distinct memory of being the first one of our friend group to beat the Elite Four. And like me and my one friend stayed up late while everybody else was sleeping and like killing that final Dragonite. We were both like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. And they added so much to it from the OG games, and they kept a lot of what was good from the OG games. And it's like you have Red at the end. It's like the same thing. Like you beat the game and there's still more you can do, like multiple times. So in my opinion, this is the best Pokemon game.
So I didn't play Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I do remember, and I think Andrew and I have maybe talked about this on previous List Night episodes about Silver and Gold and that feeling when you get done with Johto and the initial, I guess, Elite Four, and then you're in Go to Kanto. And it's like, oh my God, now I get to play basically Red and Blue again, but now I've got all of the Pokemon from both of these games. This is the kind of thing that I think would really, really be spoiled and ruined in 2025 if a game like this were to come out for the first time.
Everybody would know.
2000 or 99 or whatever it was when this game came out, no one knew about it. So whoever the first one of your friends was to get there and find out this happened, like no one else was going to believe them unless you showed your game exactly, because it was like the kind of thing to be like, yeah, my uncle works for Nintendo. Instead, it was like, no, this is actually like the most comprehensive possible. They put everything in this game. And yeah, I mean, Silver, I had Silver version. I wasn't a Gold guy. I was a Silver guy. Silver remains my favorite Pokemon game to this day. So while I didn't play the remakes, I'm sure they're incredible.
They're awesome. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they just added some stuff that made it better. But even the OGs, like the OGs could have been in this spot and I would have been okay with that. The OG Gen 2. All right. Super Mario, or number 3 is Super Mario 64. Another game that I loved as a kid that I've played as an adult. I don't really like a lot of like the new Super Mario games. Like Odyssey didn't do it for me. Even going back to Galaxy, it didn't really do it for me. But 64 and then Super Mario Sunshine, which isn't on this list, but a great game. I never got 120 stars as a kid, but I have played it 100 times as an adult and gotten all 120 stars. Big part of my friendship with one of my still now best friends who was my roommate in college, where we would just like, hey, you want to just like stay up late and play Paper Mario or Super Mario? Sure. Like that's just one thing that we did in college. So number 3, Super Mario 64.
It's a great pick. Another one of the most influential games ever. Really one of the things that set the stage for Nintendo and the N64 dominating that generation. Because I want to say it was the game that came with the N64.
Yeah.
I was not a Mario guy, really, to the extent that a lot of people were. I was always more of a Sonic guy, which has really aged poorly. Because Sonic games have gotten progressively worse over the past 25 years. And Mario is still very much on top of the world. But I mean, I remember there was this is a really, really quick anecdote. There was, and you might remember this, at Lake Forest Mall when we were growing up, there was a barber shop that had like video games. And I don't remember what it was called, but
I know exactly
had,
where it
like
was.
Screens where Super Mario 64 was playing all the time. I didn't have an N64. And this was when I was like 6 years old. And I was like, Mom, I really want to go get my haircut. And she was like, you got a haircut last week? And I was like, okay, I gotta be honest with you. I really just want to play Mario. Like, this is my only opportunity to play Mario. Please, can we go get my haircut? And so she took me to get my haircut. And I think it was the only time that I went there. But I got to sit there for like 15 minutes and play that game. And it was maybe like a top 5 elementary school moment of my life. Like, it was just, for a kid that didn't have a video game console at the time, it was just immaculate.
Mom, what's cheaper, going for me to get my haircut or buying me an N64 and Super Mario 64? Good stuff. Yeah, I'll say this. Number 11, the game that was taken off to include Cyberpunk, was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which I think you'll appreciate.
I do. I was a big
game.
Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 guy. They were a
also
lot
good.
of fun.
Yeah,
one is a lot of fun. It's jankier and it's a different game. I think Battle might be the better game, but Adventure was like, it was kind of like the first time you played GTA 3 and like you're doing open world with these games.
You're like,
and you're like,
crap.
I didn't know Sonic could be an open world game. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, number 2. the best Zelda game, in my opinion, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Another relatively new entry. I liked it better than Tears of the Kingdom. I honestly think just because it was first. I think whatever game came first, I probably would have liked the best because it's the novelty of it. The world building, and I like how it's like there is combat, but it's not like combat dependent. It's like you could have no combat and the game would still be super fun. Like great story, really, really fun adventure if you just want to sink yourself into a game. I don't know if you've played it, but Breath of the Wild is a 10 out of 10 video game.
Yeah, it's another one that's no notes. I bought a Switch to play Breath of the Wild, and it remains one of the few Switch games that I really spent a lot of time on. For whatever reason, the console didn't connect with me that much. I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, but I think it's a not hot take to have Breath of the Wild as either the best or one of maybe like the 3 best Zelda games ever. Obviously competing with Ocarina of Time, and then I'm going to blank on some of the old like Super Nintendo ones.
Wind Waker or like
Wind Waker's up. Yeah, Wind Waker
Link's
might be,
Awakening.
honestly, Wind Waker and Majora are probably my top 2. But Zelda, a series that very, very rarely gets it wrong.
They don't miss.
They're essentially batting 1,000. I didn't love Twilight Princess, but a lot of people did.
Yeah, it's one of my friends' favorite. One of my old roommates' favorite is Twilight Princess.
It's like there's a Zelda game for everybody. There really, really, truly is. If you like video games, you will find a Zelda game that connects with you.
100%. And I just like Game Freak. Just look what they're doing with Zelda and make something as good as that, please.
Yeah, God, that'd be incredible.
Anyways, number 1, this is no surprise to you. This is no surprise to anybody that has probably even seen me in public. Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts, perfect video game. I hate what they did, everything after Kingdom Hearts 1, but we're just talking about the first one. Funny story, we were like playing like a dumb couple game, me and my wife, and one of the ones was like your husband's favorite video game. My wife knows nothing about video games. She's like, oh, it's Kingdom of Hearts. And that's when and this is before we were married. This is when I knew you're the one.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very close guess, particularly for a game series that I feel like is not as talked about compared to, a Zelda or a Pokemon or what have you.
Yeah, she knows those.
So and I know we talked about this the other day. I actually love Kingdom Hearts 2. I love it. I love Kingdom Hearts 2. Is it as good as Kingdom Hearts 1? Probably not. But for whatever reason, it felt like just a slightly bit more mature, I guess, because they expected kids to have grown up a little bit with Kingdom Hearts at that point. It was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later. After that, everything is nonsensical. And honestly, even the stuff in between 1 and 2 is nonsensical. But 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite games of all time. And I think one of the most creative things that we've ever seen in gaming. Even though they're these 2 massive properties, just like the idea of smashing Final Fantasy together with Disney universes is so just weird. It's just so cool. Fun. It's so much fun. I don't know whose idea it was. I'm sure there's like an oral history on this. I'm sure there is. There's an oral history on a lot of things that Square Enix has done. But it's a great pick. I love it as your number 1. I was expecting it. So
you knew this one was coming.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah. All right, real quick, we'll do a recap, then we'll get out of here. I'll start 1 to 10 this time. Number 1, Kingdom Hearts, the first one, Kingdom Hearts 1. Number 2, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 3, Super Mario 64. Number 4, Pokemon Heart Gold / Soul Silver. Number 5, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Number 6, Pokemon, the OG Gen 1, Red, Blue, Yellow. Number 7, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Number 8, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Number 9, Paper Mario 64. Number 10, Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know. Cyberpunk is, Cyberpunk is like what me and my friends would do in sleepovers.
Cyberpunk is you and your boys watching porn on your phones at sleepovers. Look, very, very few notes. Really, really good list. I love how much you love Nintendo. I do, however, need you to diversify a little bit and get into some games that are not made by one Japanese toy company.
I've tried.
I will put together a list of options for you.
Yeah, all right. Put that list together for me. I'll give him a shot, and we'll see what happens. But cool. All right, everybody. Griffin, Jake, thanks for joining me. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what I got wrong. Let us know your top 10 favorite video games, or your top 3, or your top 5, or whatever you want. Like, comment.
Do a Bill Simmons. Do a top 17. Who needs round numbers? Not us.
Yeah, top 3.5. Whatever you got to do. Check out List Night everywhere on the socials: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever, Blue Sky. We're everywhere. Subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you next time.
See you on OnlyFans.